हेलो एवरीवन। आज मैं आपको एक ऐसा पोयम पढ़ाने जा रहा हूँ जो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है आपकी एग्ज़ाम के पर्पज़ से, खासकर अगर आप जीआईसी लेक्चरार का दे रहे हैं या फिर टीजीटी पीजीटी या फिर जीडीसी की वैकेंसी की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। एक चीज़ आपको समझने की ज़रूरत है कि एग्ज़ाम में पोयम्स की लाइंस पूछी जाती हैं और ये पूछा जाता है कि ये किस पोयम से लिया गया है। तो इसलिए ज़रूरी हो जाता है कि आप पोयम्स की लाइंस को जानें, उसके मतलब को समझें, एक समरी भी जानें जिससे आप गेस भी कर सकें, क्योंकि सारी लाइंस आप याद रखें इट्स नॉट दैट पॉसिबल। देखिए, एक क्वेश्चन है जो यूपीजीडीसी में पूछा गया है, मैं उसको डिस्कस करूंगा आपसे। वो ये है कि एंड सी द चिल्ड्रन स्पोर्ट अपॉन द शोर एंड हियर द माइटी वाटर्स रोलिंग एवर मोर। सो नाउ दिस इज नॉट दैट फेमस लाइन। ये लाइन इतना फेमस नहीं है कि कोई भी सामान्य बच्चा बता दे कि नहीं यहाँ से लिया गया है। टफ है क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि इसकी लाइन, इस पोएम की कई लाइंस हैं जो बहुत फेमस हैं, बट इस पोएम की ये दो लाइंस इतना फेमस नहीं है, फिर भी पूछा है। इसका मतलब ये है कि वो ऐसी लाइंस भी पूछ सकते हैं जो बहुत फेमस नहीं है। तो आपको एक ब्रीफ आइडिया उस पूरे पोएम की होनी ज़रूरी है, ताकि आप गेस कर सकें कि किस पोएम से ये हो सकता है। देखिए, सी द चिल्ड्रन स्पोर्ट अपॉन द शोर एंड हियर द माइटी वाटर्स फ्लोइंग एवरमोर। तो कहीं ना कहीं दिस इज टॉकिंग अबाउट some kind of river, some kind of sea, where there is water which is flowing on, there is shore. So, in which poem we find sea, river, that becomes important to guess from which this can be a part of the poem. So, मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि ये पोयम की लाइन्स हैं। ओड इंटीमेशंस ऑफ इमॉर्टैलिटी फ्रॉम रिकलेक्शंस ऑफ अर्ली चाइल्डहुड। ये पोयम देखिए बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, बिकॉज ये पोयम इन नेचर फिलोसॉफिकल है। एंड कोई भी व्यक्ति जो, आप कह सकते हो कि लिटरेचर में इंटरेस्टेड है, उसको ये अच्छा लगेगा। उसका रीज़न ये है कि वर्ड्सवर्थ की ये लाइंस, ये पोयम ये बताती है कि जब आप पैदा होते हो, व्हेन यू आर बॉर्न, यू आर अ प्रॉफिट, यू आर अ फिलोसोफर, यू आर वेरी मच इन कनेक्शन विद गॉड। वो कह रहे हैं कि जब आप पैदा होते हो तो आप उस समय चीज़ों को भूले नहीं होते हो। वो क्या चीज़ें हैं जो आप भूले नहीं होते? वो चीज़ें ये हैं कि आप हेवन से आए हो। यू आर यू हैव कम फ्रॉम हेवन, यू आर डायरेक्टली कनेक्टेड टू गॉड। एक बच्चे को बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेज किया गया है वर्ड्सवर्थ के द्वारा इस पोएम में, एंड दैट्स द नेम आल्सो यू कैन से, रिकलेक्शंस ऑफ अर्ली चाइल्डहुड। वो उस मेमोरी की बात करते हैं जो छोटा बच्चे के दिमाग में रहता है। वो कहते हैं जब छोटा बच्चा पैदा होता है तो उसे ही पता होता है कि वो भगवान के पास से आया है, हेवन से आया है, उसका मेमोरी उसका डिवाइन से कनेक्ट होता है। लेकिन समय के साथ 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 हम उस डिवाइन कनेक्ट को भूल जाते हैं, इसलिए डिस्पेयर, निराशा, दुख, डिप्रेशन होता है। सो इट हैज़ टू पार्ट्स, एट लीस्ट यू कैन से। थर्ड part also there, but two parts you can understand this way. First part is talking about the childhood, second part is talking about the youth, and third part actually is talking about रिकलेक्शन ऑफ अर्ली चाइल्डहुड। ये जो नाम इस पोएम का है ना, रिकलेक्शंस ऑफ अर्ली चाइल्डहुड, दिस इज एक्चुअली द थर्ड पार्ट। इन द थर्ड पार्ट he recollects everything that was there already in childhood. So this poem actually was published in 1802, then it was published in 1807, and finally it is published in 1815 in the form that it is today. This poem is very important poem by William Wordsworth, because it talks about the nature of childhood, innocence, and its a divine connect, and how when we mature we forget everything, and when we grow old, perhaps then we recollect our early childhood. And this is what is happening to the poet here. He is sad that he has forgotten the things, but he is happy at the last. Okay, there are things. This recollection is coming to his brain, and that's why he is feeling again connected to divine, and this is what he was longing for. And that's why this is a kind of happy ending poem, where recollection of childhood comes to the brain of the poet, and he starts feeling connected to the divine, at the same time other human fellow beings. सो आपने देखा 1802 में ये पब्लिश हुआ, 1807 में ये दोबारा से पब्लिश हुआ, 1815 में ये फाइनल पब्लिश हुआ जिसे हम आज पढ़ते हैं। आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस। सो लेट्स गो फॉर द स्लाइड नंबर 2 इन द पीपीटी। देखिए ये आपको मैंने बताया कि दिस इज एक्चुअली हैविंग 11 stanzas. First four stanza discuss death. Second four stanza discuss how we forget the things that we are from divine. We are connected to God. This is what we forget. In the second stanza, this has been described. In the final three stanzas, there is a hope that it's a kind of memory which is going to recollect. It's kind of recollection which is going to reconnect with divine. So three parts we can see: first four stanza, second four stanza, and the last three stanzas. First four stanzas talking about death, second four stanzas talking about forgetting the connect with the divine, and the third and the final is having happy note, and that is recollection of the early childhood, which is a very much connection to God. It's written in pictorial form. 11 stanzas are there. So let's go for lines which are very important because, as I told you, it can be any line they can ask from this poem. So at least you keep certain lines in your memory and the theme and the summary so that you understand, you can guess this line can be taken from this particular poem. So here we have lines. Can we read? I think we should read that. There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth, and every common sight to me did seem apparelled in celestial light. It's talking about a childhood when everything was in celestial light. Celestial means a kind of divine light, and this is talking about a childhood period when everything was intact, everything was alive into his brain. He knew everything that he had come from God. So this coming from God and this divine connect is very much part of the childhood that Wordsworth has in his brain. What happens later? He forgets those things. And what he says, our birth is but a sleep and forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life starts at elsewhere its setting and cometh from afar. He says, when you are taking birth, it is kind of forgetting the things. It is kind of, you can say, losing the sight of the divine. With the passing of time, we forget that we have come from God, which is our home. He says that our real home is not this earth, our real home is the God's abode, the heaven. But here, what happens? When we come, we forget the things. As we mature, we tend to forget everything day by day. But when we talk about a child, he has the maximum amount of memory, maximum amount of knowledge to come from God's place. This is what Wordsworth says. And that's what he also calls. This is soul's immensity, the thou best philosopher, mighty prophet, seer, blessed, on whom those truths do rest. He has used certain terms for the child, like thou best philosopher, mighty prophet, seer, blessed. All these words are somewhere describing how a child can be compared to a philosopher, prophet, and very intellectual person. This has been criticized also how a child should be treated like this by many critics. But for at Wordsworth, you should understand this is why calling him philosopher, mighty prophet, and seer bliss, just because he thinks it's only a child who knows the things, who knows the divinity, who knows from where it has come. It's not mature people who know because mature people tend to forget those things. I hope you understand what Wordsworth has the notion about child people, child children. This is what he says. And he says, and see the children sport upon the shore and hear the mighty waters rolling evermore. He says it's a child who knows the life, the sea of life. And that's what he, this line was actually asked in your paper, in GDC paper, and that's what you can read here. And the sea, the children sport upon the shore, and the hear the mighty waters rolling evermore. So this is the final stanza, you can say, where he's recollecting the memories of a childhood. And the last poem concludes with four wonderful lines. Thanks to the human heart by which we lead, thanks for its tenderness, its joys, its fears. To me, the meanest flower that blows can give the thoughts that do often lie deep for tears. He celebrates life in those last four lines and enjoys each and every moment of their lives. Even the meanest flower can be the source of giving him the reason to have happiness, to thought, to deep thoughts. So I hope this poem is talking about children, how they are very much connected to divine. When we mature, we forget, but he is happy at the last for the reason that he has the recollection of childhood, and this recollection of childhood is the sign that he is getting back the memory of God, is getting back the connection to the God, and the feeling that he is connected to the fellow beings at the same time. I hope you understand this poem. Please keep reading and memorizing the lines because they can be asked in your paper. Thank you very much for listening to me.